Hi, and welcome to Pit Rho's Introduction to Projecting Laps Led in NASCAR. Laps led is one of the key ways that you score points in NASCAR's Fantasy Live game, with each lap a driver leads being worth 1/2 of a point. Over the course of a race with lots of laps, like the Bristol race with 500, the number of points gained by laps led can dwarf the points from all other sources. For that reason, you really want to know which drivers are likely to lead a lot of laps. So what are the factors that we look at in picking out drivers that we expect to lead a lot of laps? The first thing, unsurprisingly, is to choose elite drivers and elite teams. In this first chart, we look at how many laps drivers lead on average based on Pit Rho's projection of their finish position. For drivers that we project to have a very strong finish position, the fraction of laps led can be up to 20% or more. By contrast, if we project a driver to have a finish position lower than 15th, there's very little chance that they will lead any laps at all. The second factor to consider is where the car is starting. Cars that start at the front of the pack will lead way more laps than cars starting farther back after the strength of the driver has been taken into account. So a top driver on the pole, as shown by these blue dots, might be projected to lead as many as 30% of the laps in the race. That same top driver, starting between 11th and 20th, as shown with the purple markers here, is only projected to lead about 7% of the laps. All of this leads us to Pit Rho's tips for laps led on NASCAR Fantasy Live. The first tip is when looking to score a lot of laps led fantasy points, look for chase contenders that are starting in the top 5. This will give you the best combination of high performance and high starting position. And secondly, keep track of how many laps each race has. If the race has a lot of laps, as at Bristol or Charlotte, load up your team with frontrunners to maximize your laps led points. By contrast, at races without a lot of total laps, like Watkins Glen and Indy, avoid the frontrunners. The downside risk of a poor performance by these drivers outweighs the small number of laps they can lead. At these tracks, focus on value picks of top drivers starting further back in the field. Finally, make sure to check back at pitrow.com every week for fantasy advice.